Dave, I was going to ask you again a little bit about Roland. He's a guy who, I think he was batting just barely over 200. He had some big hits for you. Just what did you think about how he played over the weekend?
Defensively, he was great. There one ball got by him, wasn't his fault. It was a wild pitch, and he made some really good blocks. To burn the scoring position, breaking balls in the dirt, kept it in front of him where they couldn't advance. Got a couple clutch hits, like you said. He's a switch hitter. He is a threat. He's got a little power. He got a couple home runs. I think he hit a ball hard that was caught, lined out, but he's been really good the last few weeks.
Could you see him hitting more as you keep moving on?
Yeah, he's going to continue. He'll get better as a hitter. He'll get better. And, he has some good at-bats. And, when he'll won't get himself out, so to speak, take some borderline pitches early in the count, that's when you'll see him really start to come on. I think I've been seeing that a little bit more.
Maybe I'm misremembering, but I feel like he's improved a lot defensively since the fall.
A lot.
What's been the key to that?
I think just working. Coach Warnes works with them, competition with Polk. They're pushing each other, just catching our pitchers and knowing what their stuff is. And he's got a little knack, too, of having a good feel for what to throw in certain counts. And, we give him some help, but we also trust him a lot.
What did you like about him in the portal?
He wasn't in the portal. He's at a junior college.
Oh, that's right.
So he started out then he went to Eastern. He wanted to play every day. And I think he was splitting time or just didn't want to be there. I don't know the situation. He went to Eastern and had a big year, and they really liked him. He just liked the fact that he got a lot of experience there. He swung the bat well, and a lot of times you can't judge batting average and numbers at the junior college because a lot of the places they play in small parks, the wind just blows out all the time, and guy's going to hit 5 home runs for us, going to hit 15 there. You just never know what you're getting into, but I like the fact that he had some experience, and he's a good student. There's a lot there.
With the catchers, how do you evaluate their pitch calling? Like, is that something y'all are tracking heavily and keeping track of how well they're doing there?
Well, our catchers will meet with our pitching coach and go through the other team's hitters, so they have to study up on a little bit on this is what we think and these counts and this is what they've done, and they'll use that first. Then they're the ones sitting up under there. They have an idea if a hitter's just moved up in the box, so he's probably sitting on something soft. I mean, they just have a feel. We can see the swings and if they're being fooled at all, but they're there, and so that's why once they show us they have a little bit of an idea and a kind of a clue on what to call, we let them go.
From a starting perspective and the way you're using Smith, are you planning on staying the same at Ole Miss this weekend?
Yeah, we're not 100% sure, but I'd say as of right now, probably so. Smith it's unbelievable the attitude he's taken with it. It's a team first thing, and the guy's helping us win games, saving them, coming in and getting a win or whatever it is. And we haven't really had the situation where he's just thrown a few pitches, say on a Friday, where we could use him again. And I think that'll happen if we get to the point where we just need to go close the game the 9th. We could still use him the next day or start him on Sunday or whatever. But right now we're just trying to win the game in front of us. And if we have a shot, we're going for it.
Tavian being SEC Player of the Week, can you talk more about him being a gamer?
If you were at the game Saturday, there was a highlight reel of how to help your team win. Scoring runs, driving in runs, got a big 1-out double down the line, scored 2 to give us the lead. He made that catch in the alley. The runner at first thought it was going to, not be caught, and he ran it down. We got a double play. It looked like he probably took away a 3-run homer. You start adding it up, he probably, between getting us and saving us, he probably got 6-7 runs. It's amazing. Steal a base when you need to steal a base, and he's such a good leader too. The players, like I said earlier, they just gravitate to him, and the guy wants to win. He plays hard.
That outfield as a whole with Wagner and Borfren, and just how strong those 3 are out there together.
They've done a great job. When you look at the 2 corner guys, they're big physical guys, but they run and catch the ball. They both run good for their size, and they really, I really can't think of maybe a play here or there where you thought they maybe took the wrong route. But for the most part, they've been solid. And then you look at it, they're all hitting in the top of the order. whether leading off or in spots to drive in runs. And that's what you want from your outfielders, a little pop.
Do you feel like Callie's taking a step at third base to be your leader there?
He looked a lot more confident to me this weekend, and I liked his at-bats. Even yesterday, the wind's blowing in hard from right, and the ball hit the right center. That's a home run. No wind, home run. If it had been Saturday, it hit in the middle of the scoreboard. I think each team hit 3 balls yesterday that would have been out if it wasn't for the wind. And I think he's starting to feel good over there, and maybe be the guy that we thought he can be.
And then with no game tomorrow, leaves you at 54 games. Any plans to add any more?
Yeah. The only reason we would add games would be to play some guys that need to play. So we look at our schedule. We probably couldn't add a game until May. We have 2 next week, and then we have a couple of short weeks. We have games on Tuesday. So unless something just fell into place with somebody that could come over in May and play a doubleheader on a day, I don't see it right now.
Heading to Oxford, another SEC series. It's Ole Miss 1-8 in league play, but for fans, this is the team that knocked you out of Omaha. They're the defending national champs. So how big is this series? Like it always is every year.
Yeah, so I'm sure that, like you said, the fans will make it bigger than it is to us. I kind of mentioned in there, they all count the same, and at the end of the year, you just look and see what your record is. You don't really know who you beat. You just know how many wins you got, how many losses, and it's going to make a difference on if you get to go to a regional, host a regional, or you're not in one. And obviously, we're just going to try to win Thursday. We want to win the series. They're in a situation where they need to win a series in the worst way, and they can flip it real quick. And you just got to play solid, and we'll do everything we can to win that first game. Go from there.
How weird is that to see, and of course, having Mississippi State too, how weird is it to see defending national champs? I know they kind of squeaked into the tournament and they got hot, but to see them be 1-8.
Yeah, nothing surprises me because of injuries, just schedule, where you're playing, it's timing. They've had some tough losses. They've still got really good lineup. They lost their ace on the mound last year, but they also had an arm injury like we did that's, pushed one of their conference stars or their Friday guy. I don't know if he's going to go this weekend or if he's going to go at all this year, but, he's been out. And little things like that, they affect you. And, you playing teams in the Southeastern Conference, nobody forgives you or feels sorry for you. They just want to beat you.
Speaking of Bianco a little bit, he's a guy that was under a lot of heat last year and wasn't the most popular guy in Oxford for a while, but then obviously gets the national championship. And just what have you made of just the way things turned around so quickly for them last year, and just overall as a guy that's coached against him so much?
Yeah, we've coached against each other record amount of times in the league, and he's a really good baseball coach, good guy, and it doesn't surprise me they flipped it last year. They had the parts to do it. I think everybody that played them early was kind of like, man, I'm glad that's over with because those guys are good. They were ranked #1 in the country for a while. Then everything went wrong, but they won just enough down the stretch. They got in, and once they got in, it didn't matter. I think they knew that they were going to win the regional, and they did. And they were very experienced and very talented, and they could pitch.
I guess that was really his first rough outing last Friday. What are you expecting from him?
Yeah, I expect him to bounce back. It was he had been so good for us. You can't expect him to be that good every time out. And sometimes, going down to Baton Rouge, everybody's all excited and pumped up. And I'm not saying that he took anybody lightly, but, he faced a team that hits just as well or better than LSU. And maybe just doesn't have the star power names, but the lineup's probably just as deep. It's 1 through 9. They can hurt you. And they just did a good job. I think they got off to a really good start on him, and it bothered him a little bit. But I think he'll bounce back, and he's going to face another good lineup, and it'll be a major challenge.
You said in there it looked like maybe they almost knew what was coming. Have you guys studied film to see if maybe somehow you were tipping pitches? Or?
Yeah, we went back and looked at some things, and I asked a lot of questions after the game yesterday to try to see if somebody will tell you something, and I don't feel like they did. Now, they might have been trying to call location because we were setting up a little early or something, but that's going to happen. But, yeah, I just think Alabama's hitters did a great job, and they had a great plan against him.
What ways does the rest of your team will get tomorrow night beneficial this time of year?
Well, I think as far as rest, this is probably a good week for rest for us. Just used a lot of pitchers. Had to use a couple of them a couple times. It'll change the way we lift weights. Today will be more of a down day, and they need it. And then tomorrow we'll go at it a little bit baseball, a lot of strength and conditioning, travel, get a workout in there down there Wednesday, and hopefully play well.
And given where your team's been with the injuries on your pitching staff and the quality, I mean, you feel pretty fortunate, happy to be 6-3.
I feel real fortunate to be 6-3. Credit to the players, man, playing hard, trying to win hard. I mean, it's been fun. It's been fun being in the dugout with them. It hadn't been fun when we've gotten whipped those games, but the other days have been good. And, I feel like even we've come back in a lot of those games that we feel like that we're not out of the game. We can score. And I don't even feel like we're hitting like we're going to hit. I mean, conference batting average isn't very good, but nobody's really is if you go look at them. Overall, we got 4 guys that are swinging it pretty good in the lineup, but I got another 4 or 5 in the lineup that is just okay. And if a couple of those guys can get going, then you start scoring more runs.
Speaking of that, Slavens, you sat him. He had some pretty good at bats, made some good plays.
Mm-hmm.
You've talked about how, as a veteran guy, he handled that all pretty well. What are you looking from him this weekend?
Just to do what he can do, and that's a solid defender, a big threat at the plate. I need him to drive in some runs. And, he did a good job of kind of starting a couple rallies this past weekend, but we need some RBIs, and that's what he's good at. So hopefully that'll happen from here on in.
Do you feel better about him after last weekend?
Yeah, I mean, everybody goes through it. I mean, Stovall went through it last year as a freshman and got it going at the end, and he's been up and down. He hasn't clicked in yet. I'm hoping that he does this weekend. Like I said, if we can get those 2 guys going, it's really going to take some pressure off some of the other guys.
Nick Adcock's a little fired up, extra fired up?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that he needs to just, stay within and do what you can do, and that's all you can do. I mean, I think 10 years ago, if it had been this, but now with the portal and all that goes on, a year's gone by, I don't think it's a big deal.
You mentioned that you look at the box scores around the SEC. I was wondering, has anything jumped out to you through 3 weeks of conference play, just looking at records and scores and stuff like that?
Well, Kentucky is for real, and I think a lot of people weren't sure. They're really pitching. They're very athletic. They score runs. They play on turf at home, so that's what they recruit to a little bit. They don't hit a lot of home runs, but they do run and put pressure on you. And if you don't throw strikes or you don't hold runners, they can get you. I see it every year. Teams that run out there and they're 18-2 and they get in league play and it goes the other way. But you've also seen it where teams are just okay and they get in league play and they kick it into gear. I don't think anything really surprises me anymore when it comes to the league. It's just it's an older league, and you gotta show up and play good every weekend or you'll get beat.
You mentioned Ole Miss probably desperate to win. I mean,
I didn't say that.
Or something like that. But
No, I didn't.
Being 1-8 at home, what are you expecting from them?
What we get every time we play them. It's going to be a really good series, and usually it's pretty intense. They got great fans. They draw big crowds, and I think it'll be good. I mean, everybody's still trying to win. Nothing's settled right now. It's not like no one's buried yet, and nobody's running away with it. There's a couple teams that are rolling, but that'll probably slow down a little bit. So it can flip on you real quick.
With Bolton's finger, do you anticipate him being able to go this weekend?
I think so. He could do everything yesterday except just couldn't grip the ball with the index finger the way we need him to. And if we would have needed him to go in and play because we pinch hit or did something, he could have got it over there. It just wouldn't have been the same.
God bless him.
You were GA when this is off topic a little bit, but Jeff King's going into the Arkansas Sports Hall of Fame and doing so. Weren't you a GA when Jeff was here? Or am I getting my ears mixed
Which
up?
Jeff?
Jeff King.
Oh, yeah. So I was, yes, that was my title.
Yeah.
And I coached Jeff.
You're the reason he hit all those home runs.
No.
But I was just wondering I know it was a long time ago, but that's when I was young and covering you guys. I remember him being such an elite hitter, and he was a good fielder too. He was kind of quiet. What do you remember about Jeff? What do you
Pretty
think about
much
him?
what you said.
Yeah.
He was a really good defender. He had a really strong arm, had a lot of power. He's a good athlete. I mean, we could tell that he was, when he got there, that he was a guy that had a chance to play for a long time if he wanted to. And I mean, he put up big numbers in college. Really, his last year is really good. I remember some of the GMs coming in to see him, and we're thinking, wow, this guy's got a chance to go high in the draft, and he did.